Welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. This week we're ranting and raving. Sell the team, Hal!
Cue the music.
Welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris. That's Lynn. And we got a lot to cover this week. We are angry. We are confused. Well, we've been told we're confused anyway, Lynn.
Yeah. Thanks, Hal. I'm expecting your, psychoanalytic bill in the mail.
And we'll get to all that soon. Let's start out with this week's trivia question.
Yeah, let's do that.
Good morning, Lori.
Hey, Lori. It's just the ladies right now. Let's see as the chat room fills. So we're lucky we have two trivia questions of the week this week, but I am kicking it off with one from our friend Joe, and I am going to put it up on the screen, and it is going to cooperate with me.
Come on, technology. Don't let us down now.
We had a little talk before the show. They agreed. So Joe's question is, which New York Yankee was the first ever pinch hitter to hit a home run in the World Series?
That's an excellent question. I love that question. I don't know the answer, but I love that question.
That's a very, that you have to really have knowledge.
All right, guys, work on that one.
Yeah.
All right, the state of confusion that exists on the Yankees. I don't think there's any confusion in my mind about the pitching. Is there in your mind, Lynn?
Questions about the pitching?
Questions about pitching.
Oh, I have tons of questions about pitching. I have, we're going to be talking about good and bad, but let's start with the bad. Yeah. Germán is a train wreck, and I have this from Katie Sharp. Domingo Germán is the only pitcher in Yankees history any 2-game span within a season to 1, allow 17 or more runs in a 2-game span and face fewer than 40 batters. So let's break this down. Facing 40 batters across 2 games, allowing 17 runs.
Oh my God. Germán has the most dubious stats in some regards. I have to say I'm a big Germán fan, but that makes me laugh.
Yeah, and I mean, is that what you want your moment in Yankee history to be? Hey, Joe, good morning. We just did your question, Joe. Thank you, and we'll leave it to you to decide when you put the answer in the chat.
Hi, Jonathan.
Morning, Jonathan. Good to see you. Yeah, Germán, there's just no excuse other than we're desperate to have him on the mound. There isn't. And there's no redemption that has been seen, and there's none on the horizon, and history also isn't so favorable. And I would say even when we get Nestor and or Cortez back, whenever that will be, it's Schmidt over Germán. That debate is long over. And so that is I'm just very angry at the pitching, because Germán isn't stepping up.
Well, I really think in some regards we're having the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good side is Rodon is on his way back. He's going to have his second rehab start in AA Somerset today, which is Sunday. In his first outing, He gave up 1 hit, 1 run, 1 base on balls, 5 Ks in 3 innings pitched, 42 pitches. So Rodon looked good, and hopefully he's not far from coming back.
Right.
Yet, as you wisely point out, versus the Rangers, that is MLB's best offense. Good outing.
Oh, yeah. The best start of his season.
Yes.
And so, of his season so far. And I was sharing with Chris before the show, everybody, that there was a cute quote from I used the word cute during a ranting and raving episode. He had a new haircut, and he was asked about it, and he said, well, I'm trying to bring 2018 Severino back today.
Yes.
And he did, because he was so solid, so steady.
Yeah.
That his line was just great. So that was a really good thing. And Lori has a comment here about the pen. Wandy, freaked the heck out of me last night. And thank God Marinaccio got him out of that, for which he owes him a juicy steak at the most expensive steakhouse in New York City. That was a little bit unexpected from Wandy, for sure. But back to the starters for a second.
Yeah.
And back to the bad, because
okay,
you'll be the good angel, I'll be the bad angel.
Okay, gotcha.
So Yankees have 4 pitchers with at least 10 starts and a 4.60 ERA or higher this season. Brito, Cortez, Schmidt, and Germán. So although Schmidt has been so much better, and in the last, I think 4 or 5 games, he's at 1.97 ERA overall because of the way he started.
Right.
He's in the upper 4s. And
right.
And we knew what Cortez was doing before he went away. Yeah, and Brito has just not been giving us what we wanted, and Jonathan's wondering if the Yankees are going to give Randy Vasquez a chance to start.
No reason why not.
However,
do we have room once Rodon comes back? Will there be any place? I guess there's always room for a successful pitcher. But we need Rodon back, and then we need to reset the pitching,
Right. The thing is, I'm worrying in advance, but we haven't seen Rodon yet.
Right.
And, and if the theory falls about the pitchers need to stretch out a certain length of time before they're really in their groove after being out on a long injury, then are we really going to see the real Rodon or the promised Rodon? So I'm raving in advance about that.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, no doubt, the bullpen is overworked, and we got to be really careful about that. But what are we going to do?
Right.
I was a little bit concerned about King on Friday night, because King was dethroned.
Yeah.
Just not his stuff.
Kahnle, on the other hand, got his first save since 2018 or some ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Kahnle continues to have the 0.00 ERA. His WHIP is 0.41 in 10 games. He's lights out. I just love it.
Yeah. So we missed him, and he's making us so happy, even happier that he's back.
I wanted, if we're good, I know that this week has been, as you pointed out with the pitching, there's good and bad. Anthony Volpe has been also good and bad this week, and so have fan reactions to Volpe. So I thought we'd take a little bit of a deeper dive. Take a look at Volpe, figure out what's going on here. And are the Yankees, They say they'll be invested in him 100%. He's not going anywhere. Is that the right decision? What do you think?
Yeah, well, while the chat room shouts that out, I think that we have to give him. I agree that he shouldn't go anywhere yet, and possibly, not yet. Maybe through this season, who knows? But we are aging by the second. This team.
Yes. In front of our very eyes. Some of them.
I saw when Stanton finally made a base hit, I saw an extra couple of wrinkles cracking in his forehead just from running to first base. So, literally before our eyes.
Would it surprise you if I said that Volpe is at the top of the MLB leaderboard in appearances with 70? He's played in 76 games. So he's hardly getting a break. This boy he has been put to work.
Yep. And right. And so the more you're put to work, the larger the sample size to point out the vulnerabilities too.
Right.
And so, and but look what he's done. Although we're not seeing consistency at the moment, and there's been a lot of talk about adjustments needed to his swing. Like Joe said in the chat there. Look at the good about Volpe. So Volpe is the first Yankees rookie since Alfonso Soriano to have 10 plus home runs and 15 plus stolen bases in a season. And that makes him the fourth Yankees rookie ever to do it.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So, few things I agree about with the front office, and especially Hal, who thinks we're confused when we are anything but, and he knows it.
Exactly.
It's one thing I'll grant him, that he's not going anywhere at the
Yeah, Volpe, I think is an impressive stat. 10 plus home runs and 15 plus stolen bases. Volpe's only one of four Yankees to ever do it. I mean, if he's going to start setting records, who knows? The sky's the limit. But on the other hand, he's batting 193. His offensive production has been a challenge, and he's clearly striking out too much. He strikes out 31% of the time. His exit velocity, he's hitting 88.8. He's hitting the ball into the ground or straight up into the air. He's just unlucky. Is he just unlucky? I don't know. But it's his batting average is the second worst in MLB. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yep. And there's a lot of company and stats with worst in MLB that we'll get to, which is why this show was intended to be censored just in case. Slip out
and defensively, Volpe hasn't been a lot better. He's got -3 outs above average, which is the fourth worst among major league shortstops, according to StatCast. So he's growing. Talk about growing pains, both sides of the ball, really. But defensively, I mean, he's more solid than he is on offense at the moment. But still, Buster Olney proposed, and this I found outrageous. Buster Olney proposes that the Yanks send Volpe down and trade for Willy Adames from the Brewers. What do you think of that, chat? Go get Willy Adames to replace Volpe for the rest of the season?
Personally,
did you see that, Lynn?
No, that's why I'm looking in astonishment.
Yeah, Buster Olney, he proposed that. I saw an article this morning where he is saying that the Yanks could go out and get Willy Adames for his defensive abilities, and send Volpe down, let him regain his confidence and his, I don't know.
I'd sooner get Nostradamus.
I don't want Willy Adames really to
Not
go get
Adames.
another shortstop
I'll
in a
take
team with a team that already has too many shortstops.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's not load them on with, unnecessaries. And Jonathan, yeah, I know that's going to continue to be the battle cry that they should send Volpe down and call up Peraza.
Right.
My thing with that is, yes, I agree with Lori. We need a left fielder more than we need to switch out Volpe and Peraza. Agree with that 100%. And
100%.
also, you know, you got to think about what that's going to do to Volpe, who has been playing his heart out. And by the way,
Who's playing 76 games.
And let's remember that batting average is not so unusual. Derek Jeter comes to mind when he first came up, under 200 for a while. Aaron Judge comes to mind
right.
when he first came up. So, I think as the full package, and it's a shame that we don't need Volpe and Peraza at the same time.
Right.
But there'll be a time for Peraza, and it's not that he doesn't deserve it, Jonathan. I agree with you 100%. He's slaying it, down in the Triple A's.
Oh yeah, he's hurt though. He's not coming up.
Right.
But
right at the moment,
Cashman gave Volpe the vote of confidence this week, though. He said, "We believe in him. We're invested in him, and we know there's a payoff there for us as long as we walk that tightrope with him." So I think that's an interesting statement by Cashman. And I think that you would get away with that if the team were not otherwise underperforming. If everyone's underperforming.
And you know what, Hal? You want to walk that tightrope, make sure it's across the highest buildings in Manhattan. and we'll watch you. We'll watch you and pray for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I really encourage
that. That's just one of the crazy things that got said this week. But anyway, that's Cashman anyway, by the way.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to know what ultimately the chat thinks should happen with Volpe, because I'm on the fence. I really do believe that both things are true. That he could that his experience at the major league level is more important probably than anything, but at the same time he's having little success on both sides of the ball in some respects, and it might not hurt him to go down, but the idea of going to get Willy Adames makes me sick.
Yeah. And Mr. I'll go over the tax threshold at trade deadline if it means getting into the playoffs. This is not what to extend a trade deadline, luxury tax on.
Oh no.
And as confused as we are, we're pretty clear about that, Hal.
I agree.
And and in terms of the needs, it's a shame that I know a lot of people feel like Florial should have been given another shot, given another shot. Greg Allen was a loss in some ways, and it seems split in the chat. Lori says Volpe isn't the reason that we're stinking it up.
Right.
And I would agree with that. I agree. Right. And yeah.
And I agree with Jonathan when he says I would trade Torres and call up Peraza. I would trade Torres. He's our best trade chip right now. And if we could get another starter, I don't know who you would pair Torres up with to trade him to get a decent starter. But a certain infusion of new blood might.
Yeah, we need a solid second baseman.
And I really need a left field, but that does not seem to be gonna be happening. They seem to be happy with the rotating outfielders, rotating infielders to the outfield.
Although there were those drum beats earlier on, before Gleyber started looking relatively great, given how bad the rest of the lineup's been looking.
Yeah.
And so much so that, Chris, you were mentioning something about the All-Star game in Gleyber.
Yeah.
Because as of now, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have a Yankee representing the All-Star team because Aaron Judge is going to be out till August. Let's be real about that. I'm not taking any, yabber dabber from Boone about that.
Right.
And Judge all but said it himself.
Yeah.
So, no representation unless, Chris?
Gleyber does seem to be sort of campaigning for himself to be in the All-Star game. And he said he would even be in the home run derby if he was able to participate in the All-Star game. So I'm happy to hear Gleyber, stand up for himself, self-promote. I want to see Gleyber succeed. Cole would be the Yankees All-Star.
Yeah, you're right, Jonathan. I was so focused.
And maybe there's other Yankee pitchers that might make it to the All-Star game too. Other relievers that might make it.
Yep. Thanks. I wasn't even thinking pitchers. I was so narrow focused on.
Yeah. Is there anybody in the chat that wants to see Gleyber in the All-Star game, in the home run derby?
Make yourself known. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
to. Make yourself known. And now let's move on to the week that we had with Boone, Cashman, and Hal. This to me is the heart of the matter and the reason why I'm ranting today. Let's start with this. And this, I think, helps sum up the week. At Grids 2, Mark Grishkin, he had this to say about comments made by Boone and Hal this week. And Cashman. Boone and Hal are morphing into Cashman with their approach. They are now all so aloof, so arrogant, so detached, cocky, and smug. They all shrug off every failure and every mistake. They absolve blame. They excuse. And this is the kicker. They ridicule those who express urgency. Yes. Hal said it this week that he could not understand Yankee fans being upset. He was confused. Yankee fans being upset in the third week of June.
Hi, Hal. Allow us to introduce ourselves to you. We pay for your jobs. You're the owner, but what would the value of the team be if it weren't for us?
Why are fans upset? It's just the MLB's second highest payroll. That's all. That's one thing right there. Yeah. With this kind of underperformance by the team.
Yeah, and we're also just a team that are at the bottom of MLB across a variety of categories and how embarrassing and unprecedented that is. To be at the literal bottom.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're confused. I think we know what's going on.
I think we do too.
And by the way, Chris, Brian Hope tweeted out that in June alone, the Yankees team batting average is 193, on base percentage 254, and runs scored in the month of June 60. All of those rank 30th in the majors. And you know what? That was Brian Hope being nice. That's
wow.
MLB. There's no 31st.
It's not good.
Unacceptable.
Katie Sharp, and let's say this, RR at RR2577 tweeted out, as per Katie Sharp, the Yankees have a 230 batting average and a 304 on base percentage from the 2022 All-Star break to now, including the 2022 playoffs. That's a full season of games. And then he says this: don't be distracted by Boone, Cashman, Hal, and the media blitz deflections. Demand better. Demand change. We demand better.
That's right. I want my Norma Ray card. Unite! Unite!
Remember in the offseason when Hal said we're not done after we got Judge? We've been done. What are we not done about? This is something that's sort of echoed, I think, throughout the season. We were not done, and you can tell.
Complacency and lack of accountability are a dangerous combination, and that's what we got here.
I mean, this is a team that might be out of the AL East race. We're 9.5 games out in June. I mean, it's June 25th.
And we have in the next stretch, before we come back home from a pretty long road trip, we're facing the Orioles.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and Hal is always going to be concerned about the bottom line. But, is Hal smart enough to understand that his margins are going to shrink the longer that these hijinks continue?
Right.
And when, he wants to call confused. I think, he needs to look it up in the dictionary, because we are the opposite of confused. We are informed and we're pissed.
Aaron Boone, that has zero discipline. Nothing changes. No, it's rinse and repeat. He holds no one accountable. There's always an excuse or a corny ass cliche, and it happens all over and over again. Fans are tired of the awful GM, the awful manager, and the awful players. That's why we're upset, Hal. Play the game right, win the game. Let's win.
Hey, Chris, what's this guy's handle on Twitter? I want to put it in the chat.
The last one?
Yeah.
Brian Rappaport's handle is @BRAPPY 55. And he hit the nail,
B-Rappy.
What?
What were the numbers? Sorry. And I do follow Brian Rappaport. Okay.
Yeah, 55.
55.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So that's our rant, and we demand better from Boone, Cashman, from the front office, everybody else. Demand better from the brain trust.
Yeah, and what are we expecting today? Did everyone get a chance to see the lineup? For those of you that haven't, let me just tell you real quick. Well, first of all, thank the good Lord that Cole's on the mound today, which means Trevino's catching. And really it's gonna mimic yesterday, with the exception of well, I won't even say exceptions. I'll go through fast for everybody. Torres, Bader, Rizzo, Stanton on the bench, DHing, Bowers, LeMahieu at third, McKinney, Volpe, Trevino, and Cole.
Yeah, so we switch out Donaldson for LeMahieu, which, does that really do us any good? I mean, does it? Not at this point.
Lori says
we need real change. We don't just need switching out ineffective players. Bring up Peraza.
Yeah. Okay. And Jonathan saying that the lineup didn't improve from last year. We need another lefty bat. And you know what, Jonathan? What's striking about you saying that is, look at how the Rangers are stacked. Virtually their lineup is alternating LNRs.
Yeah.
So 100%.
Right.
Yep.
Lynn, you've got final trivia for us today?
I do, because we were blessed with 2 today. So we started with Joe's and we're going to end with Elliot's. And let me put it up on the screen. Okay, so Chris, are you able to see it?
I see.
Great. Okay. After being swept in the ALDS in 96, 98, and 99, the Texas Rangers finally surpassed the Yankees in the 2010 ALCS. Who made the last out for the New York Yankees in the 2010 ALCS playoffs? The same batter, by the way, also would be the last batter for the New York Yankees in the 2011 ALDS. Same batter, same outcome at the plate.
Excellent question. Thank you, Spencer.
Right. And so Spencer is away. If he doesn't have the time to post the answer in Twitter like he normally does, we'll take care of that for you. Joe, I want to give you the opportunity. It's up to you if you want to share it via Twitter, the answer to yours, or put it here in the chat. Entirely up to you since you're here with us. And
yeah. I want to say I 100% agree. Eovaldi's going to be tough today. I mean, all things considered, today should be a pitching matchup. It should be this like 1-0 kind of score like we had yesterday. But I don't want to see that because I don't think we're going to win a 1-0 game today. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, and Joe Stanton is batting cleanup. Because he broke his slump yesterday with that
right
that power single.
Yep.
So expect a Grandy from him today.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us on Sunday morning. We really appreciate everyone in the chat. Thanks for listening to the rants. There's many to be expressed against this Yankee team this season.
And as always, you'll have a seat with Chris and me right here on the upper deck every Sunday at 11. And please bounce the rubber and take the series.
Go Yankees.